Wine can be really confusing. When you're starting out, it's hard to tell high-quality wine from a bottle of plunk. It can also get really expensive. Boy, have I found that out lately by looking at my bank statements. I did a lot of research to find a better way to buy quality wine without breaking the bank, and that's how I discovered an awesome website called Last Bottle Wines. Last Bottle Wines has fostered personal relationships with wineries across the world and offer one bottle of high-quality wine a day at 30 to 70% off. When the bottle is gone, it's gone. New day, new bottle, new savings. I recently ordered a Spanish Tempranillo. This wine normally retails for $74, and I got it from Last Bottle Wines for only $32. It's not a wine club, so there's no fees. Shipping is affordable and can even be free. You know Mason and I are always after the best wines at the best price. We want you to enjoy the same deal. That's why we got you this special offer. Some of our listeners have already taken advantage of the deal and are loving the experience. All you need to do is go to lastbottlewines.com/invite/tasting-anarchy to get $10 off your first purchase while helping your favorite Wine and Liberty podcast. That's lastbottlewines.com/invite/tasting-anarchy to get $10 off a delicious bottle of wine at 30 to 70% off. Tasting Anarchy, your Wine and Liberty podcast. Join Mason and Jake each week as they try new wines and discover how much government is in your drink. All right, Mason, I think we've finally gotten to this point of our conversation that's already been going on for 30 minutes or so.
Yes.
What are you sipping on tonight?
I have the Paranoia Pinot Grigio, California, 2017. I got this from Kroger. I used the Paranoia to cook 40 cloves of garlic chicken, the Chardonnay that they had. I really liked their Chardonnay, which, as for longtime listeners, you know, I'm not a huge Chardonnay guy. So the other day I went into Kroger. They had a bunch of stuff on sale. I wanted a wine, even though I still have like 9 bottles, nothing compared to a Jacob's stock at this point, from my birthday wines, from Splash Wines. But, you know, I thought, hey, Pinot Grigio, haven't done one of those in a long time. I don't have a Pinot out of that group. I love Pinot. Let me get this. You know, Kroger, when they got stuff on sale, it's like the original price is $11.88, and you were getting it for $6.25. Probably retails for like $7 somewhere else. So,
right.
Probably didn't save that much, but pretty good golden hue, pretty good acidic punch up front. You know, kind of pear flavor to it. Doesn't stand out a whole lot, but for a Grigio, pretty nice up front. You know, it sticks with you. You kind of get the flavors. 12.9% alcohol by volume, and it reminds me why I like white wine compared to reds. Okay. You know, it's acidic. It's bright up front. And not that reds aren't that way sometimes, but it's also not that heavy. Mm-hmm. And even like on the lighter reds, they generally have a heaviness to them. And, you know, I like the lightness sometimes. And it's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you're going to enjoy some of the whites that I'm bringing to Childeberg for people to try. And maybe we'll...
Albarinos?
Yep, Albarino. From these the ones that I'm bringing are from Spain. But and I did the wine that I'm reviewing tonight is from I also have a Viognier from the same winery. It's a Texas winery called, well, actually I've talked to you about this before. It's the Biker Bar winery.
Ooh,
so it's I'm going to say Chisholm Trail winery.
Chisholm?
Yeah, Chisholm. And it's this particular one is called the Outlaw.
Ooh.
It's a Barbera. I probably have had a Barbera, but I don't recall having one. It's I guess an Italian grape, or possibly an Italian blend. I didn't do a lot of research on it, but one of the things I thought was kind of interesting about this one though is it doesn't say Texas on the label. It says American.
Huh.
So I'm wondering where these grapes are sourced from that they made this particular wine out. It's 13% alcohol by volume, very fruity forward, a lot of strawberry flavor. It's dry, but not super, super dry. Low tannins, very, very, very smooth, but it does have kind of a heavy mouth feel. I would honestly, I would pair this with you remember Chichos out there? I don't know.
I do.
Yeah.
I love Chicho's.
So Chicho's has this, you can get Chicho's pizza with just regular sauce, or you can get Chicho's with spicy sauce.
Yes.
And I love the spicy sauce.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. And I think this would go really well with that spicy sauce because it's a little bit, it's definitely a red, but it's more reminiscent of a light red. So it's a lighter red. I don't know what to compare it to because I haven't had Barbera before, or I just don't recall.
All right, so it's from northern Italy. Probably more close to pronounced Barrera, given that it's Italian.
Okay.
So on Wine Folly, they have a little picture, and the picture has Pinot Noir on the left and Syrah on the right, and they put Barrera like in the body and color compared to other wine. They put it, like 1/5 of the way from the Syrah. So not saying that that's what this one's like, but that's the comparison that they're presenting. So their fruits are dark cherry, dried strawberry, which you got, plum, and blackberry. So
okay, I could see this.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I mean, I could sort of see that description. It's very, very strawberry in it, but I like it. It's not, my favorite thing ever. I tend to like a much more tannic wine.
So this sounds like, talking about what I was drinking, this sounds like a red that I would, not that I dislike the reds that we normally drink together, but like this sounds like a red for me.
Yeah,
so
I think you would like it. And the guy was cool that I talked to, and he was making. They make some interesting things. I also got a Viognier from them. I might bring that down for you to try, or you and I might open it up before we go or something.
That'd be good.
But like I said, one thing that I thought was kind of interesting about it was that it said American on the label instead of Texas. And when you go to their website, they do have several that are labeled Texas. So I'm wondering if that was a decision that they made, or if that's part of regulation. And kind of going back to our our motto or whatever, and this is how much government is in your drink. And I'm wondering how much government is in this label, telling them that you can't label it Texas.
They also may have chosen not to.
That's true. They also might have.
And that's one of the things that's really interesting about this kind of debate is when the producer doesn't want to label it that way and is forced to label it a different way. Not only from like, I want to call this Texas wine because while I bought the grapes from somewhere else, I made everything here and, used local yeast and all that stuff.
Right.
But also somebody going like, no. Like, I want to label this American wine or something like that. So apparently, according to Wine Folly, about 7,000 acres are under planting in the U.S. So kind of your stomping grounds.
Okay.
The Sierra foothills, the Central Valley, and Santa Barbara, interestingly enough.
Oh, yeah. Santa Barbara has some pretty good. Well, they actually have pretty good. They make a lot of really good Pinot Noir, I think. And
yeah. So, but it's interesting, like when you're looking at the Wine Folly body and color chart. Yeah. And, Pinot, thinking about Santa Barbara and Pinot Noir, which I really want to get one of those. And then having this so close to the Syrah. And I know color of the grape doesn't necessarily is indicative of the growing area.
Yeah.
But I just think it's funny to be like, oh, look. I just think it's funny to kind of compare that, like leaning to. This would be one of those ones I would be really interested to talk to Jackson about.
Yeah, and he probably knows a lot more about it too than you or I do. I'm kind of, other than the fact that I have like ungodly amounts of wine right now, and I'm probably not going to buy anything. Well, I say I'm not going to buy anything for a while, but we all know that's a lie. That I've kind of been keeping my eye out at Last Bottle of Wine for. I'm going to say Barbera. I'm not really sure how to say it. Barrera. I've been kind of keeping my eye out there because I know that everything they offer is relatively good quality. And so if one comes up there that's available, I would like to buy it, and just for comparison with this, because I think this is pretty good. Now, the one detractor I will have or one thing that I will say, but this is very, very typical of buying wine that is not mass market. And that is that it's expensive. So this was a $40 bottle of wine, and not to disparage Chisholm Trail or anything like that, I don't think it's $40 quality. But it also might be, but it may be also that I just don't like this enough to want to pay $40 for it.
Gotcha. I was going to say, like, even with the uniqueness of the experience, it's not coming up to 40 for you.
Yeah, I would. Maybe if I was there drinking it, and they actually have a little pizzeria inside the biker bar, and like if I had like maybe some of their pizza and had this, I think I wouldn't be upset. Like I'm still not upset that I paid $40 for it. It was a really great experience, but I'm not going to go online and order a case from them. I guess is that like, whereas like Tornelocks, which is one of the places we're going to visit when we're at Childeberg with the wine
I'm gonna
band.
drive you folks too.
Yeah, exactly. That you're going to be driving us to.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I've gotten from them, I think, is worth what they're charging.
Mm-hmm.
I think they make a great Tempranillo. It's not as aggressive as most Tempranillos, but it's unique, and I really, really liked what I got. They also offer Viognier, and the Viognier is decent and worth the price. I've had better Viogniers in Virginia, but I've also had. It's also one of those things that's year to year. It could be different. So I may have gotten Viognier in Virginia just for like at a really good time of year.
Yeah, but Virginia is also a very consistent growing location.
That's true. And
Like,
Texas is not. That's one of the challenges Texas growers have, is that year to year the weather here is so sporadic that a lot of growers here have a hard time producing consistent grapes. One year could be the most amazing year ever, and then the next year you get a late frost, or the summer is like 3 months of 110 degrees or something like that. It's difficult. It's a difficult condition.
What's the Dallas Total Wine that's near you? Park Lane?
Yeah, Park Lane. That's right. Yeah.
They have a Rococa Feliz Barrera de Bala Superior, which is a Barrera that they also have at the Norfolk Total Wine.
Oh, we should try that.
We should totally pick this up.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
But they also, according to Total Wine, they have a lot of availability for this wine type at that store. You can't ship them there apparently, but you can pick them up in the store. So apparently they just have a lot at that store. So you could really, and a lot of them look Italian. So you could try, like, well, I'm not telling you to get into a new wine grape, but you really could.
Yeah, that's true.
And that'd be really, would be really interesting. Not to dictate your time, seeing as you're planning Childeberg, which we'll get back to in a second. If you could save that bottle that you have open now and pick up one of these and then taste test them compared to each other.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Kind of it would be really interesting if you could do it as a mini.
Yeah.
And then not finish the one bottle, and then I could pick up the bottle, and then you could kind of be like blind tasting me into it.
Oh, yeah.
To see what I pick up, like we used to do.
Yeah, that would be really
where you're
cool.
like, oh, I've had this one before, and I was like, oh, I haven't. Like, let me see if I can get close to what this tastes like.
Yeah, and that's always fun to do too. And we haven't done that in a while, so maybe let's try that. Maybe.
Plus, the one I'm looking at is like $16. So
yeah, that's not bad at all, and I wouldn't mind swinging by there.
It's like 17 on my side, so you Dallas jerks and your low tax.
My lower taxes, yeah, that's right. Well, and I don't know. I've got like 24 bottles of wine coming in the mail though. So, behind the scenes, everybody, Jacob has a really beautiful wine rack now. Yeah.
To store his giant collection. I honestly thought about getting the same one to put up in the kitchen.
I think that, if you do get it, I don't know if you will or not, it's available in others colors besides black. It's also available in chrome. I don't know what would fit better with your decor.
I think black.
Okay.
Because the granite on the countertops is black speckled.
Well, definitely follow their advice for how wide to put them apart, because like it said put them 7.5 inches apart, and I was like 7.5 inches, and I looked at it on the rule or on the tape measure, and I was like, that seems too close to me. I'm going to do it 9.5.
Oh.
And so I did it 9.5, and my bottles do fit, and that's fine. But once I started putting the bottles in, I was like, yeah, I probably should have done what they said and done 7.5, because I can tell that there's a couple of, now granted where it is in my house, nobody's going to be bumping into it or anything like that, because it's above my recliner, and nobody ever actually sits in the recliner. So,
I will be sitting in this recliner in almost a month.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And, it is, so the rack, it is slightly, but I could see if somebody came and bumped one end of it, how easy it would be for it to just fall off onto the ground or something like that.
I will not be sitting in the recliner.
Yeah. The thing is,
I can afford to replace all of your wine. I just don't want to.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, I've actually got quite a bit. I've gotten very spendy with wine, and it's not necessarily a good thing. So I do have some kind of expensive things up there.
Speaking of spending of wine, Jacob, how can our friends, our colleagues, the people who listen to this show, people who found this show randomly and have just gotten this far in the episode, how can they get themselves some credit at Last Bottle?
Well,
wine.
they could, you know what? I think the easiest way for them is to go over to our website, tastinganarchy.com, and use our link to Last Bottle Wine. And if you sign up, you will instantly get a $10 credit. And on your first purchase, we will get a nice little kickback that will help us explore more wine.
Yes, it'll help us explore more wine, but also, and this is the really interesting thing about Last Bottle Wine. When you go into Total Wine, just like I did on the show, you can go into Total Wine like I do a lot and find sometimes something very unique. And it's not that they don't have unique stuff all over that place, but sometimes it's very hard to tell if you've already, if I've had Cab, I've had Merlot, I've had yada, yada, yada. You've had the big hitter grapes or the noble grapes. You know what they are, but like, you want to have a Barrera or Albarino or Viognier, like these, not necessarily exotic, or Tempranillo. It's not necessarily an exotic grape, but they're not super huge in the French, and they're not super, super huge in the Italians, which kind of dictates the U.S. grape market too.
Right.
But if you go on their site and search for them, you can find all these things. And it's not that like Last Bottle Wine has a lot of super unique stuff, but they have different things.
Right.
And they do their flash sales.
There was
killed you.
Yeah, there was a marathon sale. You know what? If you want, I'll run over a couple of things that I got in that flash sale.
Yes.
Just because they're cool. So, and I'm going to go over these, and I'm not going to look up the actual price for it, but I'll tell you what I got it for at Last Bottle. And all of their stuff is 50 to 70% off.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. It's like you can pick up a high-end bottle of wine for them with a super discount. And even if you don't pick up a high-end bottle of wine, like say you dip your toes in very, very lightly, you're still getting a pretty good discount on a pretty good bottle of wine. And that's the interesting thing about them. It's not like you remember when I was into Woot for a long time?
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Woot, a lot of the times, they weren't trying to rip anybody off. They weren't trying to be crappy, but like they would buy like a line of refurbished Dyson vacuums and sell them at a discount, which makes sense. They're refurbished. They're trying to get and Dyson's a pretty good product, but they're selling a refurbished product, which has inherent issues already. They could be certainly perfect. You don't know. Whereas like Last Bottle Wine, they know these wines. It's not like they went, "Oh, I found this case on the side of the road. I'm going to sell it." Yeah,
exactly. They have personal relationships with all of the growers and winemakers that they sell. So everything they offer is high quality. A lot of them are small producers, and so you're not going to find a lot of these wines in like Total Wine. You might find a few of them, but they just don't produce enough to get into the big box wine stores like Total Wine.
Yeah. You have to go there.
Yeah, yep. And actually they have a location in Napa that you can go and like go check out what they have at their.
Oh, that sounds like a really good trip.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. I would like to get out. Like if you and I could get out to Napa at some point and just like spend a week just kind of checking it out, that would be a lot of fun. But I think we have
to go foreign first, personally.
That's true. That would be a lot of fun too.
Especially if we could go to Portugal with Jason.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Or Jackson.
Jackson. I know.
The legacy of Jackson.
Yeah. Well, let me go ahead and run through a few that I got in that last marathon sale, just to kind of give you guys an idea of what you can get. So I got Cornerstone Cabernet Sauvignon from Oakville Station, Napa Valley, 2015. I actually happen to know that this goes for about $95 a bottle. I got it for $52.55.
I mean, that's good.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
The volume you bought got free shipping.
Yep. I got Growth Cabernet Sauvignon from Oakville, also from Oakville. 2014. It's a $45 bottle of wine. I think this one's normally $70, but I don't recall. Then I actually got a couple of Ludum Pinot Noirs. So Ludum has several different vineyards. So I got the one from Sanford and Benedict Vineyard for $32. I got the one from the Gaps Crown, the 2013. The previous one was 2012. This one's a 2013 from Gaps Crown Vineyard. That one was $37. I got a Hermitage for $31. It's a 2010. And I haven't had a Hermitage. The reason I got this though, and I actually think they call it something else as well, but you know that South American wine grape that I really like, Pinotage?
Yes.
So Hermitage is one of the parents of that grape.
Okay.
So I was like, ooh, I want to try this, and $31.
You gotta get a Pinotage.
Yeah.
Have it the day before.
Okay.
And then, kind of taste the heritage the day after. So it's fresh to kind of try to get an idea. And if you could get one of the other parent grapes.
Oh, yeah. I think it's Pinot Noir and Hermitage. I think that's the cross.
Well, you got like 9
Yeah.
Pinot Noirs
That's true.
at this point.
Yeah. I got another one, Emerson Brown Cabernet Sauvignon 2015, $41. It's normally, I'd have to look it up. I think this one's normally like 60, so I only got like $20 off on that one. But still $20 is, yeah.
Here's the thing, like $20 off a really good bottle of wine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 Like, I mean, if you spent $5,000 on a bottle of wine, you get $20 off. Who gives a crap? But that's a significant percentage off the price.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to say this one correctly, but the reason I got it was because the name was funny to me. Mm-hmm. I think it's Groucho Cellars Dundee Hill Pinot Noir 2014, but it might be Gracha. So it just looks like Groucho. It's Grochau. So I got that one. That one is a 2014. I got it for $20.
Yeah, I would think that one is probably Groucho, but like maybe like, cause I kept thinking it was like kind of like a riff on Groucho Marx.
Yeah, that's why I bought it. Cause I was like, ooh, Groucho Marx. Yeah. But like, so when that one came up, cause what's cool about the marathon sale is they put a new one up every 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. So like I was sitting there at work refreshing while actually coding and refreshing that at the same time, trying to like catch the good deals. This one,
you didn't refresh. You wrote a script and it refreshed.
Right. This one I got for you and me to share though. This next one, it's called Elov Brewery Techno Double IPA. It's a beer.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's a big bottle of beer.
Oh man.
Yeah. So $10. It's normally 20. So
no, I mean half off.
Yeah, half off,
50%. Like I didn't know they did beer. That's awesome.
Apparently, once in a while they come across a beer and they just go ahead and put it up. If they think it's good and it's a good deal, they'll go ahead and put it up. They'll just sell it. And that's a lot of people who like wine also like beer.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where like most people who like wine, they don't drink beer.
Yeah,
they love to sample beer.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, like, at this point, like, I'm still in both camps where, like, I'll drink beer and drink beer.
Right.
And then I'll drink wine and drink wine. So, yeah.
So this next one, I have no idea how to say it. It is, it's from South Africa. It's from the region of Stellenbosch, I think is how you say it.
So it's one of the African regions, I think.
Yeah, I think
based
so.
On that.
Yeah, it's called Molderbush in quotes Faithful Hound Red Blend, and it's 2015. The 2015 online, like I just wanted to look it up.
Yeah.
I got it from them for $16. It looks like it goes for about 20. So it's not really the greatest deal ever, but it sounded really interesting. And also it's free shipping.
If you're already getting free shipping from Last Bottle Wine, which is 6 bottles?
Depends on the wine, but during the marathon, as long as you get 6 bottles, it's free.
Okay.
And these were all marathon shipping.
I was going to say you got 4 times that.
Yeah. Then I got a Grenache, Mark Harold Flux. I know I've had a Grenache. I just can't remember what it's like. So I was like, well, let me get this because it's $15.
Here's what I want you to do if we can.
Okay.
You got to go to a regular Kroger and see if they have the El Pastor Grenache because that's what we cook with for red wine here in my house. And it's a pretty good drinking one. I think their Tempranillo is better for drinking. But the Grenache is pretty good too. Okay. And I think it's a good I think that'd be a fun side by side. Okay.
Well, at Total Wine, this particular one is actually this is a 2014, so I don't know what it is, but the 2015 at Total Wine is $30. So I got it for $15, and so it's about 50% off, which is nice. Casquina. Oh, no. So it's Casquina Luisin Barbesco Asili 2014. It's Italian, obviously. $37. I think that one was actually about 55 retail, or the best deal I could find online was 55.
Yeah.
Then there was a D'Angelo Angelico del Vulture 2013. That is, I don't remember what this one is. I think it's just a red blend. It is, the technical details on it are 13.5% alcohol by volume. So I have no idea what that one is, but I got that for $15. This one actually does go for quite a bit online. I got it for $70 from Last Bottle Wines. It's the Rubisco Cabernet Sauvignon Reserve Mount Verde Napa Valley. It usually goes for about $150, and they had it for $70.
I mean, that's 50% off.
Yeah.
Like, you could probably flip that possibly.
Yeah, possibly. I'm going to drink it, but I could.
You could still flip it, just not in the sense I meant.
Right.
So I think that's a wonderful review of like very, very heavy raw. Well, and this is one of those things where, like, I wasn't watching the sale because of the nature of the business I'm in currently. Yeah. It doesn't allow me to, but a lot of reds on there. Now, reds are generally kind of the primary American focus at this point.
Well, I mean, they had ungodly amounts of Chardonnay, ungodly amounts of Pinot Grigio, a whole bunch of, they had a couple of Gewürztraminers, they had a couple of Pinot Grigios, they had some Chenin Blanc, I recall. The thing is that, like, I actually like Chenin Blanc. I thought about getting a couple of the whites, but I was like, you know what, I do periodically buy whites and go like, ooh, I want to drink this or whatever, and I just never get around to it. And it's because when I'm going and picking from my shelf of things to drink, I always pick a red.
Yeah, and that's the one disadvantage of the idea that we don't live near each other anymore, is it pushed us outside of our comfort zone and our general drink demeanor. Yeah. And because my shipment from Splash Wines was 50-50 by choice. Right. Red to, it was 8 reds, 8 whites, and 2 rosé. Like, I specifically have been drinking a lot of reds, but also because, like, it's a nostalgia factor, and I don't expect you necessarily, because you drink more frequently wines than I do. Yeah. I don't expect you to drink for a nostalgia factor like I do sometimes, where I'm like, I miss Jacob, I'm going to have a red. Right.
Yeah. Well, I do drink Viognier quite a bit, and I drink Albarino probably more than I should. I guess it wouldn't be more than I should. I drink probably more than I should, but
I've seen recent pictures of you. If that's what it takes to look like that, I'll drink more. Yeah.
Well, I mean, actually, Victoria and I were driving today back from the gym. And then we went to the Russian store, and I was like, I am famished. I am so hungry. And she's like, yeah, you haven't eaten today. And it was like 4:00. I was like, no, I ate today. I ate breakfast. And she was like, no, you took the dog for a walk. When you got home, you took your pills. Like, I took allergy medicine and my vitamins. And she said, you took your pills, and then you started working. And I was like, I'm almost sure I had my protein shake this morning, my meal replacement breakfast thing. And she was like, I would have heard the blender turn on and turn off, and I didn't. I'm pretty sure that you have just been going the entire day without eating. And I was like, man, no wonder I was super hungry, because I just had a pretty intense workout. And, and also took the dog for a 2-mile walk, and then came home.
In the Texas heat.
Well, actually, it's really nice today. It's like 80 degrees out, but,
Texas heat.
Right. And, but like that kind of thing happens a lot when I have a lot on my mind. So I've been doing tons of work on Childeberg. I've also got a lot of my work to do, and then work on the show. And so, like, I'm the type of person who I'm a grinder. Like, I will just work for hours and hours straight if nobody interrupts me. And I will do things like forget to eat. And then if I forget to eat all day long, and it gets to, like, I usually don't drink before 6, so then it gets around to 6, it's like, oh, it's time for me to pour a glass of wine for myself and continue to drink, and I haven't eten all day, and then I have a glass of wine, and then I'm like, why am I so hammered? Yeah, and then I'm like, oh, that's right.
So I have two segues here. One, I am probably 5'10", but I slouch, so 5'8" is a good height to describe me at. You are a solid 6'5.5", 6'6".
Yeah, close to that.
Yeah, you are a giant person. And I have been around you when it's like, I didn't eat today. And I'm like, well, should we be drinking? And they're like, oh, I'll be fine. And it's like, nope, no.
Right.
I'm like, I haven't eaten in the last 45 minutes. I'm going to have 3 glasses of wine. And you're like, I'm going to have this one.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, no, I'm not even close. And speaking of which, we've mentioned this thing called Childerberg several times, and I believe somebody is going to possibly be bringing in an inordinate amount of Texas beef, and we may have a heavy hitter of the libertarian movement possibly showing up. You'll have to show up to find out. But Jacob, what the heck is Childerberg?
So Childerberg is the premier liberty event in Texas and
no.
really the surrounding
Premier
region.
Liberty event in June 2019.
Well, also Porkfest is in June.
Premier Liberty event.
Okay, all right,
2019.
All right.
Because we are not gracing Porkfest with our presence.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, so Roger Paxton, who is the head of Porkfest right now, he does put in a lot of work. I need to get in contact with him.
Is Roger Paxton the head of Porkfest?
Yeah. So Roger,
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
I take that back.
Yeah, so he's like the organizer.
The secondary premier event.
Well, let's say we're the premier event in the South. So if you...
Yeah, I'll call Texas the South.
Yeah.
Being a Virginian, I don't think of Texas as the South. But
okay. Well, it's part of the Confederacy.
I don't think it's wrong. Yeah. I just don't think that way because East Coaster.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
The big problem. I think the South, Georgia, Alabama. But
yeah, that's like the deep
not
South.
Far from Texas.
Right, yeah.
Compared to Texas.
But I mean, Texas is the size of most countries, bigger than most countries. So, but actually, so if you want to know who the secret guest is, though, everybody, go listen to the May.
No. They've got to show up.
Okay. All right.
Until you show up, you're not going to know. And if you know, you're in the know.
That's right. Okay. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Mason, you are driving the wine van, and we're going to be visiting, for sure 2 wineries, most likely 3.
Probably 2.
You think 2?
To be realistic, I don't know the distance between the wineries, but it's about 12 to 5. We're trying to do the winery tour.
Yeah.
So, you think 45 minutes to drive to one, an hour at one, 45 minutes to the next, an hour, 45 minutes back.
Yeah.
We may be able to do 2.
Well, realistically, I've done the logistics.
2 is right.
I did the logistics on it. So there are,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, there are 2 that are very close to each other within 5 minutes of each other.
Oh, okay.
So
5 minutes apart.
And
I didn't realize.
Yeah, and they're 20 minutes away from the campsite.
Oh crap!
This is
we can do that.
Yeah, this is where the tricky part comes in, though. The third one is on the other side of the campsite, about 30 minutes away.
I'm gonna go to that one first.
Yeah, so we could go up to that one, spend an hour or so there, and then come back around the lake and go to the other 2.
And, so the way we'll do it is we'll go to the one that's 30 minutes away.
Okay.
We'll spend the time there, and then we'll go the farther of the 2, so I can be like, well, we might as well hit the other one on the way back, right?
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's the further of the 2 on the bottom is the one that I'm really looking forward to going to.
Okay.
That's Tornilocks. And
Tornilocks?
Yeah.
All right.
Super, super good wine from there.
Yeah. So to clarify, this is June 8th and 9th in Texas, just a little bit north of Austin, right?
Yeah, it's about an hour northwest of Austin.
Yeah, northwest of Austin at beautiful Lake Buchanan.
I don't know if it's Buchanan or Buchanan, but I've been.
If you type in Lake Buchanan or Buchanan, Texas, north of Austin into Google, you'll get the right place.
Yeah.
So all of the campsites have been spoken for.
That's right.
All of the wine van seating has been spoken for.
No. We still have seats left on the wine van.
Oh, I thought you said today the wine van had been spoken for. Okay.
No. So I've reserved the wine van, so we have 15 total seats on the wine van, and we have, as of this recording, and so it may change by the time you guys listen to this, we have 5 seats left.
Okay. So there are 5 seats left in the wine van, and it is early May.
Yep.
So keep in mind, we think we know how many people are showing up.
Right.
We're probably going to have more where people tag on because it is a free to attend event. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be us. Is Rolo's coming, right?
Yeah, Rolo's coming from Pennsylvania.
Rolo's coming from Rolo and Slappy.
Yep.
We'll have a car from
Friends
Against Government.
That's right.
Now, I still don't think even if we paid for his ticket, Bird could come.
No, I asked him.
Spirit.
Yeah, he'll be there in spirit. I asked him if I said, is it a problem to fly out just because you're a student and you got other costs? And he's like, no, I just got too many classes and stuff. So
yeah, so we want him to complete his education because he feels that's a good investment for him. Which
and he's a smart guy. So
yeah, certainly a good choice on his part.
Yep.
If he thinks it's worth it and he's doing well, which it sounds like he is. So we wish he'll be there. He'll be there in spirit. Maybe we'll be able to do some sort of call with him.
Yeah.
We'll have Carr from Friends Against Government. I wish we could have talked Nikki and Lizzie from Sounds Like Liberty to come down, but they do have a young kid, and Texas is slightly warm. I know Nikki doesn't care for that, but Lizzie does.
Yeah. Well, and it's far for them. I think they're in like Ohio or Illinois or somewhere.
It's far. We have a guy coming from Europe.
That's true.
It's far for anybody who's not coming from. It's not far for anybody who's not coming from Europe.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, so I'll be there. It'll be the first time. Well, for you guys, it'll be the first time I've seen Jacob since he moved to Texas. Now I will be obviously. Yeah.
Well, it'll actually. This is what's cool about it is it'll be almost exactly 1 year since you and I have seen each other. It'll be 1 year in like 4 days.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing is like Jacob and I didn't go like for 7 or 6+ years. Like we didn't go 3 days without seeing each other unless he was on vacation.
Right.
So, I mean, like, so yeah, now I will obviously see him because he'll be picking me up at the airport, but we will be bringing this thunder and fire for wine and enthusiasm for, anti-government shenanigans.
Yeah.
To it. I will be getting a chance to meet Carr. I will be getting a chance to meet Rollo.
But we've got some other really good podcasters coming too, Mason.
Do we?
Yeah. So
Mr. Sue,
Mr. Sue's coming.
Killing myself because I keep forgetting.
Yeah, and actually, man, he had something he wanted to razz you about, and I forgot what it was now. But
he can razz me in person.
Yeah, he can razz you in person when he's down there. But also Dino from the Dino Files is going to be there.
Yeah.
I think that's
frequent guest on Friends Against Government.
Yeah. I think either one of the guys or both of the guys from the Peaceful Treason podcast are coming.
Oh, that's such a great name.
Yeah, it is. It's a really good name. And I think, man, there's a bunch of them, and I should have a list or something so I can read them all out because they're all. Like anytime anybody's like, hey, I have a podcast and I'm going to Childerberg, I go and listen to like the last 5 episodes of their backlog just so I'm like, okay, so now I have an idea of who you are.
Well, Jacob, we have Childerberg.com.
Yep.
Every time we should just be like in association with.
Yeah, that's right.
Just have this running list of podcasts that are going to be.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, we should do like a Friends of Childerberg page or something on there and just like make a list of all the podcasts that we like. That's a good idea.
Well, not just people who are attending. Like, we don't have to like your podcast to attend. I mean, you could be a straight socialist and want to attend. Like, we've always invited people to come out and have the conversation with us. So it's just in association with, I think. Yeah. But, I don't think I have admin rights to Childerberg.
I have admin rights. I'm the only one with admin rights right now.
Correct, as it should be at this point, because like I'm just gonna get there and muck about. No, but yeah.
No, I mean this has been a strong collaboration with you and me, and a lot of input from Carr. And I mean, like
Dino is,
Dino made our cool logo.
Have contributed.
Yep.
Like, I mean,
and what's cool too. Speaking of Rollo. I'll announce this on the show now, but probably the newsletter will come out by the time this episode comes out. Rollo is going to borrow the wine van Sunday morning, and any Catholics or any non-Catholics, I guess, that want to go to Mass with him can go with him in the wine van, and then he'll be back later on that afternoon to continue the fun.
I almost would attend that.
Right. If it was Quaker meeting, you'd attend.
No, I think I would be too in pain, possibly, to attend the Quaker meeting. I mean, we can still do a meeting.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
Just, do a meeting at the campsite because you can't drink at the campsite. Yeah. So you have to go to the state park. But no,
you saw the little map I sent you, right?
Yeah.
So it's like there's like a line that's like right next to our campsite. Yeah, it's so funny because it's like on this side, no drinking. On this side, it's the county's problem.
So, that sounds like, to bring this back to our favorite conversation, the state.
Yeah.
On this side, you're Mexican. On this side, you're American.
Right, yeah, it makes no
you
sense.
might as well not bring your Spanish-speaking blah, blah, blah. Oh, come on, man. It's a line. You just step over it.
Yeah. So we're going to be stepping over that line and doing any sort of Childeberg drinking on the county side instead of on the Elcar side. Yeah. So just because Elcar is there, I guess they're the state organization that's in charge of like dams and water management in Texas. I don't really want to have any sort of conflict with them because I just don't want to have a conflict.
It's fair. It's a fair choice.
Yeah.
It's a family campsite. We definitely will respect the fact that, people will be paying to enjoy their time there, and we shouldn't, ruin someone else's time because they don't necessarily approve of the choices we choose to make. So we will gladly take ourselves to another place.
20 feet over.
Yeah, 20 feet over. Quarter of a mile, depending on which campsite you get, but not that bad. Over there to enjoy oneself and to be comfortable and have a good time. It's going to be a lot of fun if you can attend, but this sounds like an amazing thing. Unlike Tom and Bob, who we have modeled heavily this off of, from Contra Krugman, Tom Woods, or the Bob Murphy, the Bob Murphy Show. So if you didn't know who Tom and Bob were, shame on you if you're listening to this. Unless you're a socialist, then go listen to Tom and Bob. And then if you still are a socialist, I can't help you much unless you want to read some Rothbard.
Yeah, just come back for our wine reviews, and then you can turn it off.
Exactly. But they have a wonderful sounding cruise. Which is a little high dollar for our cost at this point, but we are definitely going to have a lot of fun in Texas.
Yeah.
And, Bob's in Texas.
Yeah.
Maybe get him out to come out next year. Oh, wait.
That's right. So that's the thing that you were alluding to that we're not going to do.
We are announcing Dose already.
Yeah. So Dose is going to be happening, The way I have it envisioned right now is that it's going to be the last day of the LNC and the 2 subsequent days. So it's going to be a 3-day event next time.
Well, it's not how you envision it. That's just how it's going to be.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it before or after, and I think
into it.
We need to trail it, I think.
Yeah, because if we can, this is maybe edited out time, but we need to be able to snag people before the event. Like to go in and like maybe if Dave's going to come out or, somebody like that, try to get some interviews, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah. And so anyways, I won't cut that out. That's fine. But,
strategizing.
Yeah, strategizing on the air. So, so we're going to be doing Dose. So if you can't make it to Childeberg 1, make it to Childeberg Dose. And I plan on this being an annual event going forward until I'm 6 feet under.
Until you're Emperor of the United States and you've abolished daylight savings time.
There you go.
If you want the Childebergs to stop, elect Jacob president of the universe so he can abolish daylight savings time.
Right.
And then go screw yourself because we're still not stopping.
Right.
But if you do want to see Childeberg Dose, but you can't attend Childeberg 1, but you have a few dollars that you can spare, we will take any and all donations you want to make. If you need to make donations in Bitcoin because that is how you find yourself in life, let us know. We can definitely get you hooked up with Carr, who can help process that information for us because Jacob and I are too technologically illiterate at this point to figure that out in time for this wonderful event. Otherwise, you can go to childeberg.com because, hey, just like Tom taught us long ago, grab the website, go to childeberg.com or tastinganarchy.com. I'm sure we have some sort of link to Childeberg on there.
That's right.
And you can make a donation to our GoFundMe. We're not asking for much. We're just trying to make sure that, hey, we don't become slaves of the state because we went to the poorhouse for this. To make sure everybody has a good time, safe, fun, libertarian event of the South.
Yeah, I think that's a good summary. So awkward transition, I guess. Let's
to our one article.
This week. We've got one article. We tried to get to it last week, but you and I have been having just a good time just chatting up because we've just had just cause.
Jacob, I believe these are the classic episodes that Carr likes to skip. Yes, Carr, I'm talking directly to you now. Don't skip the classics. No, please enjoy whatever episodes you guys like, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. This is one thing I do like about our show when it's structured. We do a good job talking about the wine industry, but I do miss the random once maybe once every 2 months episodes where we just go off the rails.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is too, like I remember, and even this episode and last episode, like I mentioned earlier, I had a super rough week this week, and the week before I also had kind of a rough week.
Yes.
And the week before that, I was so busy that we weren't able to record. So so there was like a lot of time where we just didn't speak as much as we normally do. So I had a lot to say.
Yes.
And so did you. So,
I mean, we spoke for almost an hour before this episode started. So.
Yeah, exactly. But one of the reasons that we missed an episode was because I was in Nebraska. So we're going to get into our time machine a little bit and go to Nebraska, where that's right. Yeah,
time machine and traveling distance machine. I don't know.
Right.
But that's the noise that it makes.
So they have, and actually I covered this when I was on the Rolo and Slappy show, I guess last week. And I covered this a little bit on their show too. So Nebraska has a new proposed alcohol tax going in, and it is a 600% increase from the current tax.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's a huge increase. And so I kind of wanted to review this with you, Mason, and you and I can comment a little bit on that. For those of you who don't listen to Rolo and Slappy also. The reason I guess that they're proposing this tax is because they want to alleviate property tax in Nebraska, which is apparently very high. And Nebraska's a big farming state. So for farmers, property tax is very difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
And so this senator who's proposing the tax, he is saying that, it's negligible. I'm going to use all beer terms for this because when I was at my sister's work, I spoke to one of the bartenders about the tax, and they were kind of giving me information about it while I was there. So this is partially an article and partially just me talking to somebody who's a server at a restaurant that has like 100 beers on tap. And they were saying, like, the way that the senator is proposing this, he's like, hey, look, it's not a big deal. It's only 10 cents per glass of beer. And that doesn't seem like a lot. But what they want to do is they want to basically make up for a large amount of their revenue in order to reduce taxes for farmers mostly, is property owners in general. And one of the things that I thought was particularly interesting about all of the quotes from this senator, and granted, this is a news article, so he may have proposed other things, is not once in the news article do they discuss cutting the budget as a way to lower taxes. In their mind, or at least this is the impression I got, in their mind, the budget is set and it's going to increase, and so the only way to pay for it is to increase tax revenue.
Yeah. Didn't Nebraska recently have a governor who was like an actual true Republican that tried to do like all this crazy stuff with the budget? Like,
I think he
and
did.
Then
and
basically no one would let him lower spending.
Yeah, I think that was the deal. Is just like, nobody would let it cut. Nobody would let them cut. He kept getting obstructed in their legislature. And, to some degree that's fine. But I mean, overall the government is violence, and
yeah, I mean, like he basically pulled a Trump where it's like, yeah, we're going to cut spending or we're going to cut like taxes, but he actually wanted to cut spending. Like he was all about like, no, we got to rein this in.
Yeah. And he went through and from what I understand, he went through and he like slashed a lot of stuff. And then when the legislature went into session to decide on it, they were like, nope.
Yeah.
And so, but I kind of wanted to break down some of these numbers because I did the calculations on my own to sort of put it into perspective for people, because I actually didn't know what this would translate to breweries. And I wanted to know what the definitions of the different breweries were. So a microbrewery, Mason, you and I have drinking a whole bunch of what we would call microbrews, but those may not have been microbrews. So according to regulation, a microbrewery is a producer that makes less than 465 gallons of beer a year. That sounds like a lot, but it's really not
that
much.
A lot.
Yeah, no. It's not very much at all. Like I was making 30 gallons of beer a year, actually probably more than 30 gallons, probably close to 100 gallons of beer a year in those 2 or 3 years that I was brewing. And because I was doing them in 5-gallon batches, and I was doing one batch right after the other, and then I had so much beer that I didn't know what to do with. And so,
yeah, just so everybody knows, a gallon is 128 ounces. Most beers are 12 ounces, so that's like 10.8, 10 point, whatever beers.
Right.
That's not a lot.
Yeah, it's not that much at all. So that's a microbrewery. A regional brewery is classified as somebody who produces between 465 gallons of beer and 1,806 gallons of beer. So, yeah. So that's a big jump. So you are classified as a regional brewery in that area. So I went ahead and did the math. So for a microbrewery at 400, if you were producing the max as a microbrewery, you're going from 31 cents a gallon to $1.38 a gallon. And that is a tax difference between $144.15 and $503.70. So the amount of beer that a microbrewery is producing is manageable for one person. And granted, that is a big jump, and so it may be very costly for a small business. But really, you're kind of like, it's a small business. It's really probably just a hobby, and so they can eat the cost.
And they might not even actually be selling it.
Yeah, they may not be. They may just be producing it for friends or events. Like I know people here in Dallas who do a lot of microbrewing, and all of the beer that they produce is for microbrew events. So there's an event, and they're not technically selling it. And so, but they give it away and people can try it, and then they get judged based on like how they did. And actually, I have one guest in mind to come on to talk about that, because apparently he's very good at it, and through like a long chain of relations, somehow he's related to me. So, and I've been talking to him online a little bit. So like, he, I think, is the brother-in-law of my cousin who's not technically related to me.
Is this, the one who lives north of me?
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's that guy's brother-in-law, I think. Or it might be that guy's cousin-in-law. I don't remember exactly. So, but this is how I meet people, is like, how are you connected to me in the family tree? All right, so going up to regional breweries, which is, like I said, 186 million gallons or less, you're seeing a tax increase of going from, I think I did the math correctly, so at 186 million gallons.
Wait, is it? I thought it was 1 million gallons.
No, it's 186 million. So anybody between 465 gallons and 186 gallons is technically a regional brewer. Mm-hmm. So at 186 million. 186 million.
That is a huge volume.
It's not that much.
I know.
Yeah. It apparently
it's a lot.
Cause now granted, a lot of the breweries you and I like in Virginia, like Smartmouth, I don't think they produce this much.
No, they don't.
But they are a viable business, and they are producing a lot of beer. Mm-hmm. So at 186 million, I don't think this math is right. 0.31. No, that is right. That's $57 million in taxes. $57,660,000.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I mean, how much is it?
It's 31 cents a gallon is a tax.
Okay, so
why didn't this blow me away when I did the math originally? Because this is like now I'm looking at this. It's 31 cents a gallon is the tax, and if they're producing the maximum amount to be a regional brewer, which I'm sure most are not, $57,660,000 in tax. That's insane.
Yeah, that's. I think the number's up there. No, it's.
I mean, these are
it's production, so. I think you have your numbers a bit off on the production.
Oh, maybe it's 18,600,000.
No, the microbrewery, according to the Brewers Association, is it's a different level. So I think you just have some misplacement in the numbers, but it doesn't.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah, it's still a huge.
Yeah.
But
just
it's not like they. In these things, it's not like they literally put in there and we're for sure going to cut this.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too, is that this is a phase out. So they will be putting this tax in and not decreasing property tax for 2 years.
Yeah.
Which means that legislature will be out and a new legislature will be in. But let's assume that you produce 5,000 gallons. Let's say you're a very small brewery and you only produce locally, and actually I have a really good example of this. So there is a brewery in Nebraska called Scratchtown Brewing. Mm-hmm. They produce 14,400 gallons a year. Their tax is going to go from $4,464 annually to $19,872 annually. For a small business, that is a huge, huge tax increase.
Yes.
And that is the difference between expanding and staying the same size, or hiring a part-time somebody to help sweep up or kind of keep it cleaner or whatever. This is a humongous tax increase. And And actually, Scratchtown Brewing, I think I had one of their beers when I was visiting Jory. Jory and I drank a whole bunch of local microbrews and a bunch of these really interesting saisons that they produce there. And this guy, like, they mostly are just producing locally, and then some of it gets sent out to other nearby cities. But this is the consumption of a town of about 3,000 people. They drink more than this a year.
Yeah, so the definition is more like the regional brewery is up to 6 million barrels. And so,
well, how much is in a barrel?
Hang on, that's where
I think that might be where I came up with these numbers, is trying to do the calculations on barrels.
Yeah, 15,000 barrels is a microbrewery, and that's 460,000 gallons.
Okay, so I mean that's still a huge price increase or tax increase on them. And that's again, so, it's people, it's expansion, it's advertising, it's new employees,
that's the thing is like, not a knock on Nebraska. It's not like this is kind of like, so there's an article going around on Reddit about like Australia bringing in like possibly legalizing weed.
Oh yeah.
It's like, it could be $1 billion industry with blah, blah, blah and taxes and this many jobs. It's like, why does, and no offense to Bird, the government getting its beak wet matter about our personal liberty?
Yeah.
It's not like making weed legal or not hurts. Like if you make weed legal and the government doesn't step in any capacity, you immediately cut the cost of like drug enforcement in that country by a huge amount. Like if there's no literally, like, you can have as much weed as you can physically carry. Like, just, it does not matter the amount of weed you can have. Suddenly, the enforcement mechanism like goes to zero for 30% of like drug busts. I mean, like,
probably more than that. I mean, like, I would imagine that most drug busts are less weed than what you can carry.
Yeah.
Actually, we know that because a lot of these people that are in jail for like an ounce.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like suddenly you just massively decrease the amount of police present necessary. Mm-hmm. Like, any of you consider like heroin and crack cocaine like a super big problem. Like, if you just get rid of weed as an issue, like, so much stuff comes out of the shadows. So many people like, and like, yes, we are a alcohol show and all that, but like, why does like the amount of like, people enjoy this, so we should tax it because people aren't going to give this up. It's like, well, like, yeah, it's bull crap that I have to pay you indefinitely to own something. Right. But to like enjoy myself, because we're the most miserable country on the planet for the advanced world, supposedly, which, you know, anytime you see those statistics, people, unless you're seeing coming from like Mises or Fee or something like that, where you know, they actually go in and tell you what those statistics mean, take with a grain of salt. Right. Because like the Danish are supposed to be the most blah, blah, blah happy people on the planet, and they have the highest level of antidepressant prescriptions. Right.
Well, and I think I may be speaking incorrectly here, but I think like the Finnish are supposed to be very happy people as well. And they also have a ridiculously high suicide rate. Yeah. So it's like, what's the correlation between those two? Like, are all your sad people just killing themselves? Or do you not, or are you not measuring?
Dead.
Yeah. Like, or are you not measuring it correctly? And also, I guess we don't really want to get that much into happiness statistics, but this always bothers me that they do happiness ratings and stuff like that. Like, happiness is not a good indicator of if you're satisfied with life or not.
Correct.
Being productive and making a difference in the world is a very good indicator of satisfaction. You can be unhappy and satisfied. You can also be very happy and satisfied. And typically satisfaction or feeling like you've done a good job in life is going to make you happy. Ultimately.
Yeah, and I think this is a measure that the left kind of came up with because it's a nebulous goal. Mm-hmm. Oh, these people are unhappy, so therefore we have to do something for them. Yeah. It's like, well, I'm sorry. Like, you know, I don't give a crap if somebody's happy or not. Right. Like, I give a crap if they're a productive member of society, whereas they don't take my money and give me nothing in return. Right, right. Like, if you want to be, like, so heroined out that you can't function, that's your business, but don't expect me to pay for it.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's, you know, and that's a good place to talk about it too. And also then, like, I'm very unhappy that I get taxed, and I'm very unhappy that I would have to pay 10 cents more per beer, like in Nebraska, with this enormous increase in taxes. So like this is kind of like one of it's very nebulous. It's also very subjective. Happiness is very subjective, but kind of to rein it back in a little bit, because we're running out of time. This article, if you guys want to go check it out, I'm going to put a link to the show notes page. It does go through a lot of the reasoning from the government officials. But one thing that I really wanted to point out and make very clear, or to go at this from the how much government is in your drink perspective, I guess, on this is the government trying to impose a sin tax, basically. And there's another effect of this other than the increase in taxes, or maybe it's a symptom of the increase in taxes, and that is, how is this going to change the Nebraskans' decisions on drinking? And one of the things that we know is that prohibition of alcohol pushes people toward higher levels of alcohol. So normally, like prior to Prohibition, cider was a very popular drink in America, and beer was a very popular drink in America. And during Prohibition, it was almost all liquor. Yes. Because you can move it a lot easier. So and Nebraska's tax system is a per gallon tax system, unless I'm mistaken, which is possible, because everything that I learned about this was just about beer. So I'm not sure if they do it differently for wine and for liquor. But if you're seeing a tax increase on this, low alcohol beverages are going to see a much higher increase in price than high alcohol beverages. And so if you see this, and 10 cents is not a huge amount, but you know how like we go to the dollar store and you buy like a spatula for $1, right? Instead of going to the grocery store and buying a spatula for $1.30. Yeah, exactly. And it's negligible, but having a beer or having a finger of whiskey might be that 10 cents difference. It's because value is subjective, and it's also a perception thing, is that if you see a beer on the list and it's $6, or let's say $5.99, it's $5.99, and this is the reason why everything is priced at 99 cents, is because it's perceptually lower than $6, even though it's only 1 cent different. So if you see a beer $5.99 and then you see another beer $6.09, and then the liquor is only $7, you might go ahead and make that jump to the liquor. If you enjoy whiskey or whatever the liquor is, you might make that jump because of even though it's a very minor difference.
The change in the tax does not alleviate what people are trying to satisfy by consuming these products. So by making it more expensive, you almost guarantee people are going to move into a product that provides a higher value return on the investment. Right. And to say it's only 10 cents is a misnomer. Right. This is not what Austrian economists have gone in and measured and done the math and come up with. This is Keynesian nonsense saying, oh, no, it's only going to be 10 cents to the consumer. No, that's not how prices work. Right. There are several episodes of the Contra Krugman podcast where they kind of go over how pricing actually functionally works. And no, it's not going to be 100% past the consumer. No, it's not going to be 100% past the producers, but it's going to be a frick ton more than 10 cents to the consumer. Right. And it's not even like it's the Chicagoan kind of, well, if all the ends justify the means or we get out of the same place, it's not like this immediately reduces property tax to $2. Right. $2. It doesn't change anything. It's simply feeding the teat of the government where they get used to having this additional cost overrun, an additional funding source. And then, like you said, it's quite possible a different state legislature is going to be in place when the next one comes around. Right. So this is one of those things, and this will be a very quick aside, and then we do have to end. Yeah. One of the reasons I'm not for term limits. Right. Because term limits basically are an indicative way of saying you have to make the most money or the most impact as a government official right away. Right. Because it doesn't matter if you get reelected.
Yeah. Well, this is sort of the point that
Hans Herp and Hoppe makes.
Yeah, exactly. Hoppe has made this.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole reason I make this argument.
Yeah, and I think it's a valuable argument, and this does, to listeners who are more interested in the wine side of our conversations, this is kind of going to sound kind of weird to you, but Hans Hermann Hoppe makes a very good argument for why people should prefer hereditary rulership to democracy. And he makes this argument in Democracy, the God That Fails, his, crowning achievement book. And the reason is that the monarch has an incentive to maintain the realm, whereas a elected official for a very short amount of time has an incentive to rape the realm and get as much value out of it as he can possible. And we see this in a really good example of this is logging in Maine versus logging in California. So in Maine, most of the logging is done on private land, and they do selective logging. They go through and they pick out the trees and make sure that the forest is maintained because they own the land and they have an incentive to make sure that the land is maintained for generations. Whereas in California, they lease the land and their incentive is to clear cut. Cut as much down as they possibly can because they don't know that the lease is going to be renewed.
Yeah, and there's not a good contract system where it implies an incentive for the owner to continue to maintain the land. And I think this is also an excellent example for those people who are mainly listening for us for the wine review and things like that. This is why you see the Democrats and everything like that saying, oh, no, we have to change democracy now.
Right.
It's, because what we told you for this entire time, one person, one vote. Oh, no, that's not what happens in the United States. Well, we're not a democracy.
Yeah.
We're a representative republic for a reason, and it's because the people who are empowering themselves to make these choices, it's like you don't have a consistent, and that's why, like, for, what was it, before originally you couldn't vote if you didn't own land?
Yeah.
You don't have a stake in the quote environment, unquote, because everybody does that incorrectly. You have to quote before you start the quote, finish the quote, and then end the quote.
Right.
And I'm guilty of not doing that the majority of the time. But like people have this thing where it's like, oh, no, like, oh, it shouldn't matter if you own land or not. That's why they're trying to get felons so they can vote. Now, I don't disagree with the idea that felons should be able to vote, given that, like, I don't agree with most of the laws that put these people in jail to begin with.
Right.
But it's another way of trying to put this idea that, like, oh, no. We didn't like the outcome of the last election, and therefore we are going to do everything we can because we already cheated.
Yeah.
DNC leak, everything that happened. We already cheated to try to put these people in jail and destroy your elected voices to be like, oh, no, we're going to put who we want in charge. Like,
well, and I think that's and I've seen this with, a lot of my family who are pretty left wing is this last election really shook their faith in democracy, which I'm very happy about.
Me too.
But it didn't put it in the correct direction. It kind of made them go like, well, we just need basically a left wing dictatorship. And whereas like you and I would say, well, look, democracy is a failed. Don't you want to live the way that you want? Well, let's get rid of the government or reduce it so small that it doesn't impact you. And then you can live the way that you want and I can live the way that I want. And neither one of us are ruled by Donald Trump. Whether you like him or not, like if you want to be ruled by Donald Trump, go for it. I don't really care. I think he's very entertaining, but
I think that's the thing is like, and I think this will be the last point we'll make. And, again, for people who only are here for the wine, think about this. They're trying to push this narrative that Donald Trump is the most impeachable president that ever existed. Barack Obama admitted to having a secret kill list of United States citizens, and he even killed United States citizens drone bombing in a foreign country. Right. Well, I don't think they were drones that he wiped out this family.
I think they did, yeah. I think it was drones, but
right.
I would have to look.
The guy John Brennan, lied before Congress. Yeah. And that's not an impeachable offense. That is supposedly a jailable offense. Right. And it's not like he lied before Congress and said, no, I can't answer that question because you don't have a high enough clearance. So your elected representative doesn't have a high enough clearance to hear what they're talking about. And I'm doing air quotes this entire time. But yeah, so Donald Trump, for obstructing an illegal investigation brought on by the prior government that he actually had every right to stop the entire time, is the most impeachable president that ever existed. Right. Never mind the fact that he continued this 2-year illegal war in Yemen. Right. He is an impeachable person, just not for what you're going with. Yeah. But by the same token, Hillary Clinton has, done how many felonies? Her husband's on how many felonies?
Well, I mean, and not even to mention that all of them should be strung up on war crimes. I mean, they're like Clinton is responsible for thousands of deaths in Yugoslavia and Iraq. I mean, he did bombing in Iraq as well. His wife, Hillary, she is responsible for what's going on in Libya right now, largely responsible for it.
The
thousands and thousands
trade in the world at the moment.
Yep. And then Barack Obama, who also she served under the blockade that's going on in Yemen. I think they're up to like 1,100,000 deaths at this point.
No, it's more like 250,000. Like,
are you sure?
I guess.
I thought it was over 1 million.
Are very skewed, and that's the thing is like, and I don't disagree with it, but Scott Horton's done a lot. I heard a lot about this where statistically, like 1.3 million people are going to die before they should have. Okay, not that many have died, though. The number who died is reprehensible. Like, not this. Like, one death was reprehensible. It's like 250,000 at the minimum. Yeah, they're not U.S. citizens. Well, I mean, and then what right do we have to decide who their government is? And then not even to mention Yemen. So you've got Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan. You've got millions of people either dead or displaced, and these are all of the same spooks who have been in power all along, and this is. If it's exactly like Tom Woods says, it doesn't matter who you vote for, you always get John McCain. Yeah. So, and in this case, now that John McCain's dead, it doesn't matter who you vote for, you're always going to get, what's the mustache man's name again? I want to say John Brennan, but I know it's not. Is it Bolton? John Bolton. Bolton, yeah. So no matter who you vote for, you're always going to get Bolton. Because I mean, Trump ran on a very anti-war platform in a lot of regards. His wasn't where you and I would want him to be anti-war. It was more of a what benefit do we get out of this kind of thing? And, which, I don't really care what your motivation is. I'd like you to just leave. But, exactly. And the wars. Yeah. And the wars. And here's the thing. Barack Obama presided over the government that illegally put Ross Ulbricht in jail for the rest of his life. When it's clear that almost every person involved with that investigation committed hardcore felonies. Right. Yeah. Like, I mean, straight up. Yeah. Just and a bunch of them. I think like 4 or 5 of them are in jail right now for it. Yeah, at least. And then the judge should be in jail. Like, I mean, it's like not for what she did to Ross directly, which I think yes, she should be for that horrible of a judgment. Right. But the reason she did it and like a bunch of stuff that came out about her afterwards, so. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to end, Mason. Do you want to do the plugs or you want me to do them? I will do the plugs. So if you want to talk to us via email, tastinganarchy@gmail.com. If you want to leave funny comments on our website that aren't spam, tastinganarchy.com. If you want to leave funny comments that are spam, go screw yourself. No. If you want to see about our events, join up with the mailing list of our event, Childerberg.com. We have Friends Against Government. They are another podcast, Car and Bird, and they have many fun guests and many fun wide-ranging and expansive conversations. So the Fadcast, if you like music, Sounds Like Liberty, those are the people to talk to, listen to, and hear. They have always something interesting going on. Jacob, I had the Paranoia Pinot Grigio 2017 California. I have finished the bottle at this point. Acidity is my main takeaway from it. Good light paraben background, pretty light, but 12.9% alcohol by volume for a Pinot Grigio. That's pretty high. Okay, well, I had the Chisholm Trail Winery. It was called the Outlaw. It's a Barrera, or Barrera, that's right? Yeah. Barrera? Yes. Yeah, it's spelled Barbera, and it is 13% alcohol by volume. I would say the biggest takeaway for this is full fruit strawberry flavor. Great with spicy pizza. Yeah, that does sound like it would be good. Like a spicy, heavy cheese spicy pizza. Yeah, that'd be really good. All right, guys, I think that's it from me. Stay free. Stay free, everybody. Pass that bottle to me. Hoy! Drink it, man. Oh, give me some of that slop. Oh, pass that bottle to me. If you want to get along in Peterstown, buy some wine and pass it around. The age runs up to 49. All them cats, they love sweet wine. Drinking wine's for you to drink wine. Wine's for you to drink wine. Wine's for you to drink wine. Pass that bottle to me. Hoy! Wine, wine, wine. Elderberry. Wine, wine, wine. Cherry, cherry. Wine, wine, wine. Blackberry. Wine, wine, wine. Port and sherry. Wine, wine, wine. Oh, pass that bottle to me. Now down on Gillsby at Willie's Den, he wasn't selling but American gin. One soldier wanted a bottle of wine.
If that cat for $1 and a dime, I'm drinking wine for you to drink wine. Wine for you to drink wine. Wine for you to drink wine. Pass that bottle to me. Now I got a nickel, have you got a dime? Let's get together and get some wine. Somebody's fifth and somebody's fourth. When you get together, you're doing things smart. Drinking wine for you to drink wine. Wine for you to drink wine. Wine for you to drink wine. Pass that